Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for clarifying what's actually in the letter or memorandum that was issued by the Attorney General yesterday. It's always surprising to me that lawyers on this committee don't seem to understand the legitimate exercise of First Amendment rights and people who are threatening violence and, in fact, who engage in assaults on people. So you would think that we would all be able to come together to pass VAWA, and I thank you, Ms. Monaco, for your testimony and your responses to the urgent need to reauthorize VAWA and at an increased level, because the need is definitely there. One group that I wanted to call your attention to is that there is an unfortunately high instance of intimate partner violence within the Native Hawaiian community, which, as an indigenous community, parallel the high instances of domestic violence experienced by and exhibited within American Indian and Alaska Native communities. And as we move forward with combating domestic violence, I'd like to get your commitment to work with my office to address this disparity and better serve Native communities, because we can do a far better job for these communities.
I absolutely agree, Senator. It's one of the priorities laid out in my opening testimony is exactly this, making sure that we are addressing the underserved to include
Yes.
Indigenous communities.
Thank you. And in particular, we need to fix VAWA to ensure that Native Hawaiian organizations are eligible for funding from the Office of Violence Against Women's Tribal Coalitions program. I hope that you'll give your support to that change. There was some discussion already about how women in these situations often do not have options. And often they will leave their job not because they're fired, but because of domestic violence. And so we want to make sure that these victims and survivors have access to unemployment insurance benefits. And I think that that is an important aspect of what we need to do with the VAWA reauthorization. Would you agree?
Thank you, Senator. I know that the Office of Justice Programs is exploring how we can ensure that individuals have the assistance they need to kind of be a bridge to the services they need to get to.
So I think that we need to view UI benefits as more than just in the circumstances where someone loses a job or is fired. We know that protecting immigrant survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, dating violence, and stalking is particularly a concern for the immigrant community. Can you talk about how important it is for VAWA to be there for all survivors, and also how it's been able to assist immigrant victims of violence?
Well, I think what's really important, Senator, and you rightly point out that an individual shouldn't be kind of held hostage by their abuser, and they need to be able to seek immigration relief, as it were, on their own. And I think some of we'll see where the Senate bill, what that yields, but I think it's something that we very much want to be supportive of, making sure that a individual who not have to rely on their abuser to file a petition for immigration status.
Yeah, I think immigrant women are particularly vulnerable, those who are undocumented. And immigration has become a very divisive issue, and it is really important that we continue to provide these protections and services for immigrant women and for undocumented women in VAWA. I'd ask for your continued support in that. Mr. Chairman, those are the questions I have for the moment.
Thanks, Senator Hirono. And once again, thanks for your patience in waiting during this hearing. I want to thank Deputy Attorney General Monaco, as well as Senators Ernst, Hyde-Smith, and Caput